Hi, everyone. I'm Deanna Bruce, and welcome to Thrive to Learn. Happy to have you all here, and I'm super excited to be joined by my friend and client, Rebby Kern. Rebby is the Deputy Director of Welcoming Schools. Welcome, Rebby.
Hello. Thanks for having me today, Deanna.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to get started and jump right into you. If you could tell us a little bit about welcoming schools and then also your journey getting to the role that you have today.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm Rebby Kern. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs, and I serve as the deputy director there for the team. And what I really love about the Welcoming Schools work is it really centralizes the work at schools. Seems really obvious in the name, but with what we're facing right now, it is more important than ever. For a few decades, our work has helped to create safer, more welcoming schools, and specifically looking at professional development for educators and school staff.
Yeah.
We have evolved to also have school advocacy resources, to have our National Day of Reading and our Book of the Month program. And each year we're able to roll out some more ways that youth serving professionals can jump in to making environments great for young people.
Yeah, it's great. I've been following the Welcoming Schools trajectory probably since it got started, and it's awesome to see how it's grown. You know, for me, training is policy and action as sort of a self-proclaimed policy nerd. I love the training part of it, and I tell my clients like if a policy is developed in a forest and nobody is there to see it, did it actually really happen? Implementation is key to any policy, and that's what I love about collaborating with you and the schools that you work with, to actually be able to train them how to implement their own inclusive policies to support their students and their staff and their families. And so I'm
Exactly.
curious to learn more about you when how do you empower people to sort of enact the change that they want to see in the world?
I feel so lucky because a big part of how I got into this work was becoming a welcoming schools facilitator myself, way
Yeah,
back in the 2010s.
right.
And what I really enjoyed the most about that is coming at it from a lens of an LGBTQ youth support center in Charlotte, North
Mm,
Carolina. And so having that lens as a youth serving professional, also doing work in schools. And then to really see coming at it from the lens of being in North Carolina for all of my career. And there are so many policy examples here, the infamous House Bill 2, the kickoff bathroom bill, if you will, which also
right,
impacted school communities, really
right.
making it harder for trans kiddos to really just get through their school day. But what
Mhm.
we've seen here in working with examples and a district that used to really have a district partnership with welcoming schools, it did not come without hurdles and challenges. And to see people who are facilitators working with school decision makers understand we can still do something because one person can make such a huge difference in the lives of young people. And so whether or not the best policy is in place, whether or not there's a state level ban on this or that, an educator being respectful and responsive to a young person is actually where that spark can happen. And that really truly
Right.
set me on the trajectory of getting to where I am today and really believing in this.
Yeah. Well, and starting in the community, sort of what's that connection? How do you marry that connection between community and school?
Yeah, I think for me, it's that we exist as people in all ways, whether
Yeah.
it's government,
Right.
whether it's, navigating, getting to the grocery store, school. There's so many systems that I realize I participate in day to day.
Hmm.
And so looking at that community level is sort of like the broad and general. And then inside of that, seeing all of the specificities of if I try to get services, am I going to be treated differently because of who I am, whether that's medical or food security. And then school really falls in underneath that. So, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And so with our trainings, how can we help young people be treated with dignity in all of the systems of, their school, their family, their community, wherever they go. Uh, so
Exactly.
and sort of thinking about that when, in order to build those inclusive communities, I lead a lot with empathy. And so I'm wondering what you think the role of empathy is when it comes to building inclusive schools.
I love this question so much. As a program and as a personal ethos, I feel like empathy is everything. I cannot live the lives of 200,000 people to get like the ingrained, embodied experience and know how. And so for me, empathy is really considering being curious. What's the phrase that they say? Walk a mile in somebody else's shoes.
Right.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
really that,
Yeah.
like the
That's
space
it.
of empathy of like, we might have some differences and our experiences are really guiding our perspectives. And so when we
Mhm.
consider all of that, then we're able to create more space for each other.
Right.
Gianna, even looking at you and I, we have so many similarities, and yet there's so much I don't know about you. And hopefully, I
Mhm.
can be a good person to hold space for you all of the ways that you show up without needing to know the story of your life. Hopefully, you can
Right.
see me as someone that you feel comfortable to talk to because I treat you with
Mhm.
dignity and
You
respect.
do.
So,
Yes, you do, each and every time.
uh,
No, I think that you're, a bit of a role model for me. I love to I think I mentioned this to you the last time I saw you. I like to watch the way you engage folks, the your choice of your intentionality and sort of how you approach, community is really, it's a great thing to follow. You model, dignity, you model sort of respect, and you bring people in instead of create walls and barriers to entry, barriers to engagement with Rebby.
yeah,
So
thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to be sure that that applies across the board because there is a lot of difference in thought. And it's a learning edge for me to still hold empathy there and hold
Mhm,
space for
mhm,
somebody to learn something and
mhm,
experience a shift. And
mhm.
that can be really challenging in a very intense climate. And
Yeah,
so thank you for those very kind compliments.
sure. Yeah, I've tell sometimes when I train, not for welcoming schools, but for my own trainings, I talk about, um have empathy for the people that you're asking to have empathy of others.
Oof.
And so I see that when you train us, you have empathy for us as we grow and as you teach us how to then train others and show empathy, and allow grace. So thank you for that.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. What is it, that our producer Sophie says is encouraging people to make 20 mistakes before breakfast. That
I'm sure
requires
I've done that.
empathy.
Right, exactly. Is that empathy, compassion, grace, for ourselves and others. So this has been an awesome conversation. I want to close with a couple of important questions. One, what keeps you up at night?
Oh, the honest truth is that we are experiencing an absolute governmental collapse. And that is really terrifying. I also have a lot of young people in my world, just as a mentor and as somebody who's living and breathing in community with so many. And a lot of people are not okay right now.
Yeah.
Our somatic bodies were not designed to carry this much daily stress. And it's
Mm,
really wearing people down. In the organizing world, we often call that burnout, where we're
yeah.
just like
Right.
on high all the time. Pairing that with minority stress, pairing that with lack of resources,
Mhm.
it's just getting really tricky. And so I can often stay up at night in the worry, the concern, the uncertainty. Um, and that I think really reminds me to know when I need to turn things off and get back outside.
Right. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that reminder. I will do that today. And final question, what makes your heart sing?
Yeah, listen, the spring is one of the most beautiful times of year, whether you're in the DMV area watching the cherry blossoms bloom. I am in the South, and so there's a thin layer of bright green covering every surface outside.
Yeah.
But it really reminds us that even with a large collapse of a system, there's also something that is rebirthed. Everything has been dormant, it has been quiet, it has been
Mm,
resting. The visual of it is barren. And that's the life and death cycle that we have to allow. I do not need to have a tight grip hold on anything. And to allow something new to be birthed out of something that can feel really quite terrible. And that keeps me in my dreaming practice. Um, there's
mhm,
just nothing like envisioning the place where we can go. Cynthia Erivo says it best in her song from the film Harriet, where she is encouraging us to stand up and take my people with me, and together we are going to a brand new place. Right? It's something that we
mhm,
get to create together
mhm,
in the
mhm,
face of it all, and that truly I just got the chill bumps again, just speaking that again into the body. Um,
yeah.
so
Well, and we
there's
have the
so much
opportunity
more.
for that. Yeah. Every day,
Yes.
we have another opportunity to do exactly what she's calling us to do.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much, Rebby. This has been awesome conversation. For everyone watching at home, we're going to make sure that we share Rebby. You can get more information about welcoming schools. And thank you all for joining. To learn more about my work, go to thrive to learn.com.